topic, and I'm sure we learn a lot. Beauty is never a one product miracle. We often come across people who have a very attractive and calming persona and just shine through like light. In this workshop, we'll dive into deep rooted dimensions and forces that work deep within to give smooth, flawless skin, lustrous hair, endless energy, vitality, and radiance all in one. This workshop will be facilitated by Deepthi Sehgal.
Thank you so much, Ashna. Thank you for a lovely introduction. Okay, so we'll start with the session. Just give me a second now. Okay, so I'll just introduce myself, and then we'll take on to what Svarasya is all about and what is the session all about. So I come from a background where I am an internationally certified macrobiotic nutritionist, which is so macrobiotics is the science of understanding foods from the energetic perspective and not from the calorie or protein or other modern way of looking at food perspective. It's a very deep-rooted ancient science which talks of food from the perspective of how foods bring about directional changes inside the body. We will be talking of all these concepts later in the meeting. Then I'm also a yoga teacher I hold master's degree in yoga and science of living. I am educated in traditional Chinese medicine. I'm also certified yoga and Ayurveda and yoga wellness coach. And I am an author as well of the book Body and Mind Transformation, The Ancient Way. So the whole idea is we have created Svarasya as a brand which talks of beauty from the inside out. What does that mean? I will just take you through the entire concept. But the whole idea is here when we are talking of beauty, we are trying to get to the depths of beauty. Like today, how we see beauty is more of it's a superficial concept, right? We just look for that one product miracle, or we are getting all those peels done or those treatments done. But is beauty actually what we are trying to do on the outside, or does it have any deep-rooted connections with what is going on inside our body, is what we are going to talk about in the session today. So we have devised at Svarasya a 5-dimensional approach to beauty, which takes into consideration you as a whole, and which is about everything, you as a whole, which means what you eat also matters, what you do to your body also matters from the body perspective, whether or not you exercise, whether you have a sedentary lifestyle, whether you take care of your skin, whether you invest time in your self-care, everything matters. Then the third dimension is emotions, which is, how you think makes a lot of difference. Then it's about self-realization. Do you take conscious choices? And the fifth one is energy. So it's a very new concept. I'm sure, it'll take a little time for you to understand the whole concept, but I'll try to just take you through this entire concept in the session. And so today's session is about one of those dimensions, which is the Nourish dimension, about Svarasya. Svarasya means my own essence. So Swa means myself and Rasya means essence. Svarasya is India's first ancient skincare and self-care brand, which talks of one beauty inside out, and we have taken on the charge of educating the audience about beauty from the deep-rooted perspective, which means we talk of foods, we talk of rituals, we talk of yogic practices, we talk of what your state of health, your emotional health, your physical energy, everything we talk about, and try to explain you how everything coming together makes a difference when you are looking for that idealistic beauty that you would want to be. The concept of pranic energy, as I said, is a very deep-rooted ancient concept, and it is not just to do with your skin, it is to do with everything that is going on inside your body. This concept we have conceptualized from the excerpts taken from these ancient sciences of Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, macrobiotics, and yogic philosophy. So, the important aspects coming from all these oldest ancient cultures and what they have spoken about, beauty. We've picked up all those concepts and we've created this concept under Svarasya, which is a 5-dimensional beauty concept. Then we have a lot of focus on community awareness, it's more about like we are doing sessions today. So in future also we plan to do a lot of sessions to create awareness about what actually beauty is, from the inside out perspective. And of course we will be talking about everything. So today it's about food, but gradually we'll be taking up many more other topics where we talk of all these concepts holistically. Okay, so then our major focus is not just about skincare from the outside. Of course, it is very important because our skin is the barrier between our outer environment and our inner environment, and taking care of your skin is very, very important. But we are also talking of beauty from food perspective, from body functioning perspective, from lifestyle perspective, from ancient perspective, from how herbs can make a difference, how your rituals can make a difference, how your emotions to make a difference. So everything becomes a part of Svarasya. Apart from that, we offer you products and services, lot of information, tools, tips, education programs, which are about everything related to beauty. Of course, we are building onto it, but gradually, how the brand is going to shape up is we'll be offering you a lot of content in different formats for you to understand how it makes a difference, and also practical ways to how you can get onto this approach to gradually start to transform yourself. And we have conceptualized all of this valuable knowledge coming from these ancient sciences under our concept of 5-dimensional beauty philosophy, which starts from your physical, goes on to your mental, emotional, and then spiritual angle of beauty. Then we of course gradually are doing a lot of workshops, programs, webinars, videos, podcasts, YouTube. So you'll get a lot of content here which talks of beauty at its depth level. Okay, so we have the giveaways for you. The rules for the giveaways would be, of course, keep your cameras on and be on mute. That's very important. At the end of how we will be choosing the winners is we will be asking you to share your in 2-3 lines your experience about this workshop and how is it how did it make a difference to you. We'll be you can share anything that you learned from the workshop, and also what is it that you would want to learn in future from the beauty perspective. So this brand is all about beauty, but it's all about beauty at its depth. Then we will be having 2 lucky winners. You will be having a chance to win our hair oil, which is herb infused hair oil, where the herbs are directly infused into the hair oil, so it becomes richer over time. And then we have a book as a giveaway for you. Okay, so before we go further, just trying to set up the base of what this beauty inside out concept or pranic beauty concept is all about. Okay, so if you think of maybe I would just ask you to just visualize any one celebrity that you idolize, specifically the ones who are into fitness and seem ageless. So some of the ones that I have as a part of my studies I have come across. So starting these celebs from Hollywood to Bollywood, I'll be trying to naming all and how what is different that they're doing which makes them ageless. Julia Roberts, you talk of Madonna, you talk of Katrina Kaif or Jacqueline Fernandez or even Hema Malini. These all they all are ageless. What is their secret? Is it something that they're applying on the skin, or is it something that they are spending, burning nighttime fuel in the gym, or what exactly are they doing? Of course, fitness is a part of your maintenance, but from the food perspective specifically, these celebrities have risen above the concept of fat diets. They have risen above the concept of calorie counting and specifically adding on protein to their diet as a mode of changing themselves. And they have moved on to understanding and applying the food energetics to their body by understanding the energy of food and the energy of their own body or their personality, and then not getting into that bandwagon of getting into some studies coming today and telling you, okay, this food has this many proteins and this many vitamins and minerals, and this food. So what do studies do? Someday some study comes, it tells you, okay, this food is superfood because it has so and so vitamins, minerals, and this much amount of proteins or carbs. The other day that study gets negated. So we are in a state of confusion and fix because all the foods at the first place look very healthy and good for our body. Someday some study says these are not so good, and then we are in stuck in that vicious circle, what to do about ourselves. So this approach that we will be talking today is a very deep-rooted approach. It's very different from protein counting or calorie counting or getting into that fixated mindset of having food. Okay, so this is again, I would just try to create a base of when you kind of listen to this entire workshop. This is one thing that I would really want you all to keep in mind. What is the beauty mantra actually, if we talk of the deep-rooted perspective? It is not about peels. It is not about, you rubbing your skin like crazy to get rid of all those acne marks and scars and pigmentation or whatever. When you operate at your high vibrational level, which happens when your body is internally clean and free flowing. So the key when we talk of beauty mantra, this is what these celebs that we just talked about in the previous slide have been focusing on. Of course, you need some deep rooted knowledge to be working on yourself for that. Of course, then they are not doing it by themselves. They do have these experts working for them, but it is about being internally clean and free flowing. What does internally clean mean and free flowing mean is what this workshop is all about. So whatever I'm going to talk about today, just keep these two terms in mind. Whatever we are talking, we are not talking of the skin. We are not talking of any peels. We are not talking of any skincare treatment per se. We are talking of how we can optimize and clean our body from inside, so that when that cleanliness happens from the inside, each and every cell in your body is just vibrating with full force, with its full energy. This is what is showing on your skin as radiant beauty. This is what ageless people do, irrespective of what age they are into. Okay, so this is a TCM quote. Traditional Chinese medicine is something like, it's a very age-old ancient science of it's basically a life science, something like Ayurveda of Japan and China, if I have to very broadly explain that. So TCM clearly quotes, and this is how TCM looks at beauty. Face is the mirror of what is going on inside, especially your digestive tract. The governing vessel, so this is maybe a little technical. What they mean to say in the second paragraph is, you have a connectivity inside your body through these, connection of nerves and capillaries and vessels connecting one part of the body to the other part of the body. From the ancient perspective, we just don't look at these connections at the physical level. There are invisible connections through which these energies flow. These energies are not visible. These are something like, if you have ever come across this concept of pranic energy in, Ayurveda talks a lot about this pranic energy, or life force or chi, all these terms. These are basically energies which are flowing inside your body, which are invisible, but which work something like electricity. Like, you cannot see electricity, right? But if the electricity is not there, you definitely feel the impact that, maybe you feel hot or you feel cold if you're not able to switch on your gadgets. So similarly, inside the body, when that energy is lacking is where the imbalances start to happen. A little deep-rooted concept, I'll try my best to explain these concepts, connecting it from the ancient sciences. But this is where the radiant beauty or that ageless beauty starts to happen. And it applies to your foods as well, how I will be explaining in the session. And lastly, TCM quotes, problem within any of these meridians. So meridians means these channels, okay? So the problem between the connectivity inside the body, from where these energies flow freely inside the body, when these channels get blocked, is where your physicality starts to get blocked, is where your vessels and capillaries start to get blocked, is where your organ system starts to get coated with all those toxins, their capacity going low, the good quality of nutrition and oxygen which is supposed to reach the cells, which is supposed to fuel your skin cells and your hair cells, does not reach there, and that's where you start to see that deterioration starting to happen to your skin. And all those skin issues it's basically at the deep-rooted level imbalances, starting with pranic imbalances and then moving on to the physicality of it. What we know as skin disorders today, something like an acne or wrinkles or pigmentation, is a faraway story. It's like, we are just looking at things from a very superficial or outward level, but a lot deeper is happening. Something deeper is happening inside. Okay, so before we move on to the Nourish part, I would just quickly take you through what this 5-dimensional philosophy, beauty philosophy at Svarasya is. As I mentioned, of course, we are a skincare brand and a self-care brand, but we define skin and beauty as self-care and not only skincare. When we talk of self-care, it includes everything. It includes how do you take care of yourself, what kind of foods do you consume to kind of build your cells and nourish your body from inside to keep it internally clean and free flowing. Then it is your body work. So this comes under the dimension of Nourish. Then what do you do to yourself? So that comes under body work. We intentionally did not keep this dimension as exercise, because exercise is just a very small part of the entire body work. Body work means how do you breathe? How do you take care of yourself? Do you follow any ritual to keep your skin in ageless condition for a very long time? What kind of skincare do you do for yourself? Is it something chemical based stuff that you're using, or is it a pure stuff, or you using some home based remedies, what suits your skin? So everything forms a part of body work. Third dimension is emotions. I will not get into emotion, self-realization, and energy as of now, because we will be doing further workshops on these concepts. But I just want you to understand that from Nourish, is the physical concept. From Nourish and body work, we are moving on to the subtle aspects of you. From physical, we are moving on to emotional and mental, through emotions and self-realization, and finally to energy, which is your self-consciousness, level of self-consciousness, how the prana is flowing inside your body. All these concepts which Ayurveda has always talked about, which basis which yogic science is based on, basis which traditional Chinese medicine is based on, and basis which the modality that I come from, which is macrobiotics, which specifically talks of energetic components and an energetic flow of food inside your body, and how you can map it to your body to bring about that internal state inside the body, that free flowing prana inside the body. That's where you will see a lot of changes at the cellular level happening, your cells becoming really radiant, full of energy, and things changing for you. And of course, having said that, it is not a quick fix. It is, you have to kind of dedicate yourself to be living this kind of a lifestyle. Okay, so where is this 5-dimensional philosophy for Svarasya coming from? I'll just take you a little deeper into that. How did we come, create this 5-dimensional philosophy? So this is a model coming from Ayurveda and yogic concept, which talks of Panch Kosha. This is one of the areas from where we have driven our philosophy, but of course it is coming from all these other traditions that I talked about. Broadly, this is the closest that matches what we are trying to do under this philosophy. So if you look at this outer circle, this talks of this is Annamaya Kosha. If you look at the second circle, this is Pranamaya Kosha. The third one is the Manomaya Kosha. Fourth one is Vijnanmaya Kosha, and the fifth one is Anandmaya Kosha. Anandmaya is your state of happiness and joy. So for some people that you come across who naturally radiantly come across as very happy people, and because of that happiness, they seem very attractive. Their skin is just glowing, like, the way you would want yours to be. Where is that happiness coming from on the skin? It is being reflected from that fifth layer to the topmost layer, which is the Annamaya Kosha. Which means if we have, as human beings, if we are made up of these 5 layers, these 5 layers have a direct interaction with themselves. Little complicated concept, because we have never been told that we are anything beyond physical also. But if you get into these ancient sciences, they tell you we are 5 layers, and we can realize that. I mean, if I start talking of these, you will realize, yes, we are 5 layers, because physical is one that medically or scientifically we look at ourselves as. We are also energy which flows inside our body with the help of our breath. Energy is something like what you feel. Right, so some days you feel low energy, some days you feel very high energy, some days you're at the peak of your energy. So when that happens, that is basically being driven from at the back from your Pranamaya Kosha. Then it is your Manomaya Kosha, which is your buddhi or your intelligence. What decisions do you take for yourself? If you have a choice that I should be eating a burger or a bowl full of porridge, what does your intelligence tell you? Do I go ahead with bread, it is okay, or do I have to take care of myself, let me go with the porridge, because bread is coming along with a lot of additives. So what exactly is your intelligence telling you? That is the third layer. Fourth layer is the Vijnanmaya Kosha, which is intelligence, which is filtered intelligence, which is something like, so Manomaya Kosha is something like, it's Manomaya and Vijnanmaya Kosha is something like interacting with each other. So it's an overlap between your mind and your intelligence. These are 2 different aspects, right? So Vijnanmaya Kosha is more of intelligence, filtered intelligence, which is the positive intelligence, and Manomaya is the mind working as per your intelligence. So that's how the interaction happens. And the fifth one is the Anandmaya Kosha. So a sense of happiness, joy, irrespective of whatever conditions we are going through during these times. If we are still able to maintain our calm and peace, is where we are operating from Anandmaya Kosha. And these layers are, because these are interacting with each other. If you understand this model and start to redesign your life basis this model, you will realize gradually your skin condition will start to change. You'll start to radiate from inside out. Your skin will start to get better. Of course, we have to work on these, and there's specific protocols to work on these. Today, we will be talking of the protocols which work on the Annamaya Kosha, which is the outermost layer. Okay, so very quickly, what is Annamaya Kosha made up of? What are these 5 koshas? How are these related to our physical, emotional, and mental body? So if you look at this, the circle on the right side, you see Annamaya Kosha is all about your body. Okay, what do you do to your body? What kind of foods do you consume so that your cellular energy start to get infused with that radiance that we would want to? Pranamaya Kosha is all about your energy. This cannot be seen, this can be felt. So some days when you are feeling low, some days when you're feeling high, you are operating from this second layer of yourself. It is not the body level, it is the Pranamaya Kosha. Then the Manomaya Kosha, which is your mind, and discernment, which is the 4th Kosha, Vijnanmaya Kosha, so mind and discernment works overlappingly. Basis, what direction do you choose for yourself? Your mind and thoughts and your intelligence will go that way. Of course, intelligence is a little up in terms of directing you the right path, and that's where it is very important for us to build that Vijnanmay kosha as well. And the fifth one, the Anandmay kosha, which is a state of bliss. From our body perspective, how these koshas relate to ourselves. Anamay kosha, as I told you, it's all about our physical self. It's the physical layer, which is made up of 5 elements. If by any chance any one of you have ever come across or heard of 5 elements, which is earth, water, fire, air, and space, our body is made up of. Our body is a manifestation of these 5 elements. Like, if I have to give an example, how does water relate to our body? It relates to all the liquids which are there inside our body. So, which means blood is a liquid, urine is a liquid, saliva is a liquid, hormones is a liquid, intracellular fluid is a liquid, extracellular fluid is a liquid. That relates to the water element of the universe. Earth element, our digestive system relates to the earth element of the universe. So we are made up of these 5 elements, and what is the state of these 5 elements will decide how we look and feel. That's where the transformation starts to begin. And since all these layers interact with each other, if your Anamaya kosha is strong, like if I have to give an example, if somebody I'm not very sure if you have a thought from this perspective, but I'm giving you another perspective. Just think of the people who have very vibrant kind of skin condition and tissues, very, very high on energy and very positive. These will be the people where you can actually see a reflection of all these 5 koshas working at their peak level. Somebody who's very happy, who thinks positive irrespective of what situation we are into. Mind-wise, they are stable. Pranamaya, energy-wise, they are balanced. Like, you tell them to just go running for, say, for a good number of kilometers or whatever. They will be very happy doing it. On the contrary, there will be some people who would just not want to move their body, but very happy just working with their food. So, Annamaya kosha, you're spending a lot of time. Pranamaya kosha, you're not spending a lot of time. But since these are interacting, everything will matter. So, Annamaya kosha, we are made up of 5 elements, and these elements make up our internal tissues. Ayurveda talks of them from the perspective of dhatus, which is your blood is a specific tissue, your bone is a specific tissue. So whatever we are made up of, from the physicality of it comes all under Annamaya kosha, which gets nourished with food. And that's why food is very important when we talk of beauty inside out. So that's where it justifies you are what you eat and absorb. What goes in, what gets absorbed is what your body starts to become, is what your bone starts to become, is what your blood starts to become, is what starts to just radiate out of you when things are just right inside the body. So, and Pranamaya kosha is something like is the pranic sheath. I will not get very much detailed into this, but you can relate to this aspect by relating to how you feel and your energy levels. Like, how do you feel when you do a certain activity? Do you feel very tired, or when you're doing some activity that is of your choice, you immediately get that rush of energy. Where does that energy immediately rush happens from? It happens from everywhere, from all these 5 koshas. Maybe yes, because your physical body has enough strength to give your Pranamaya kosha enough energy to keep boosting itself, or your mind is, so even if your Annamaya kosha is not very strong, but your mind is very strong, or your intelligence tells you that let me make right choices even if my Annamaya kosha and Pranamaya kosha is not in balance, or even if all these 4 are not in balance, but by nature you are a very happy person, you are a very blissful, joyful person, automatically all the other kosha will start to get into place automatically all by itself. And that's where, when you talk of Anandmaya kosha, which is the last kosha, that's where meditation makes a whole lot of a difference. You are not doing anything for your body from the food perspective. You're not focusing on your breath. You're not, not thinking positive. Your intelligence is not in your favor. But you are a positive person, spending some good time meditating and getting into that trance mode for some time. Gradually, you will see your health and beauty will be stable to a certain extent automatically. No, I will not say 100% stable. Why? Because you need to feed these outer elements some good stuff to create that beauty. But yes, that inner beauty that we are talking about will start to radiate when Anandmaya kosha is where you lie at the moment. Okay, so how does Svarasya beauty philosophy relate to these 5 koshas? We are talking of dimension 1 and dimension 2, which we just discussed, is where we are supporting Annamaya and Pranamaya kosha, because these are, we are working on the physicality of us and the pranic aspect of ourselves. Again, a new concept, but pranic aspect is something which is also getting into your body through your foods, and that's where it relates to body work, to this 5 kosha philosophy. And dimension 3, emotions, dimension 4, self-realization, and dimension 5, energy, are more of the aspects of Manamaya Kosha, how your mind works, how your intelligence works, how much state of bliss are you in. We will be covering all these topics in our future sessions. Today we will be talking just of broadly of dimension 1, Nourish, and some part of dimension 2, because these are interrelated, quite closely interrelated. Okay, so if we talk of the physicality now, if we talk of the beauty and skin and hair and weight and all these aspects which on the outside make us look and feel beautiful. Okay, these are primarily all about what is the quality of your tissues inside, what quality of blood is moving in, what quality of bone structure are you carrying, what quality of muscles do you have, so that is what is showing on the outside. Skin is just an outer layer, it is just manifesting what is happening inside, right? So how Annamaya Kosha helps, it is the first layer. It is the easiest layer to relate to. Why? Because we can see it, we can touch it, we can feel it, we know it is there. Pranamaya Kosha, not very easy to relate initially. Why? Because we don't know whether or not it is there, we cannot see it, but we can feel it, we can experience it. This is the layer, and that is the reason why science only talks of Annamaya Kosha, because science only approves what can be seen and experienced. Science does not approve which is metaphysical, right? So this is the sheath or the layer, the physical body, where the science has also done tremendous good work, whether you talk of from the skin perspective or health perspective, howsoever you would want to take it. But that's where we understand body anatomy and the physiology. What are the organs? What are the parts? How do they work? The good and the best part about the Annamaya Kosha is we have just understood that all these koshas are interrelated and interact with each other in their own capacity. If you catch hold of any of these 5 koshas, wherever you are strong, if you're strong with your breathing, if you're strong with your dietary habits, if you're strong with your mental state, if you're strong with your self-connect with yourself, which is a self-realization kosha dimension, or if you're good at the energy level, if you start pushing or nourishing that specific strong area of yourself, gradually you can take hold of all these areas. That's where, when everything is working in coordination, that is where you will see a lot of the feel good and the look good factor will come into the picture automatically. Then you don't need to run after that one product miracle that can just brighten up your skin, or that brightness will automatically come from inside. Of course, you need those that stuff to kind of take care of yourself from the outside, because a lot of pollutants that our skin is exposed to. But the whole idea is, how do we merge the two areas to be the best of the beauty that we can be? So this is the kosha which can be nourished. That's the beauty of this kosha. And that is where we do have the choice. So when you say I have a lot of acne, or I have a lot of wrinkles, or I have a lot of pigmentation, where is it coming from? What do? I do not have the control. That control lies within you if you start to understand how does that operate. And then this is basically nourished by the food factor, of course. And when I talk of food, I am not only talking about food. I am talking of water, I'm talking of air. And the sequence that you see here, when you talk of air, water, food as our food, this is exactly the sequence that our body needs to bring about that radiance from the inside. Again, just to quote an example, a newborn baby, as soon as he or she enters the world, the very first food for the baby is breath, right? After a certain while, the baby is put onto liquids. For a certain month, the baby is onto liquids, and then he or she gets onto solids. So isn't that message enough for us to realize that the most important factor for us is breathing or breath, second fluids, and third food? And in our practice also, as a part of our brand, like we come across a lot of clients just concerned about what is that one food that I add into my diet that can just bring about that miraculous change inside the body. Food is number 3. Number 1 is your air, breath, or pranic energy. So when I say air, it is relative, or it corresponds with your breath, and breath corresponds with your pranic energy. So you can just, at the moment also, you can just feel it right away. Just for a second, take a breath. I mean, of course, you can keep listening to me, but just get into yourself. Take some 5 or 6 deep breaths, and you see immediately how your switch changes from feeling a little dull and low to immediately brightened up. That's the power of breath, and that can immediately create that radiance within you. And this consists of the physical body, pranamaya kosha, physical body, and the physiological systems, which means physical body means the parts that we are made up of and how they function. Like we have stomach, we have liver, we have colon, we have small intestine, large intestine. How all these parts exist in the body and how do they interact with each other is the science of beauty. If you ask me from a deep-rooted perspective, it is all about how that communication is happening between all these channels in a very balanced way. Okay. Very briefly, I'll talk of the pranamaya kosha because this is where you get the power from the back. I'm sure I'll try quoting another example. Maybe you can just relate to what I say. A lot of people who have very beautiful features, very clear, nice skin, but somewhere that their eyes look very sad, or their face looks very saggy, and somehow that happiness question does not seem on their face, even if they have very beautiful features, a very good skin. What is it that is lacking? Even if they're consuming the bestest of foods, if they're doing the best of what they can do to themselves, what is it that is lacking, that is not fueling them from the back? It is basically they are very low on their pranic energy. Very simply, in from the physical sense, if I talk of it, this pranic energy gets into your body through your breath, and that's why I just mentioned. When you look at the sequence of health or beauty, the sequence has to be air, water, and food, not food, water, and air nowhere in the picture. This is what is happening right now. We just don't talk of breath at all. So what this pranamaya kosha does is that gleam in your eyes, that that chirpiness in your voice, that brightness in your skin, that is coming from that pranic energy, which is pushing all those nutrients to kind of be something like lighted like a bulb and reach to your periphery or the skin level and start to give you that radiation from the outside, rather than you looking for some product which can immediately just brighten you up from the outside. Doesn't work like that. Okay. Before we get into the pranic side of it, I would also want to talk something about how what is the modern approach of looking at foods, and why is it not a very conducive approach if we are looking to transform ourselves from the inside out. Of course, I'm not saying it does not work. It definitely does work. You have you are high on weight. You want to build muscles. Of course, these are the kind of diets that you should you have to be, but it's always good to know the other side of it, because these diets do come with their own negatives. So the modern approach of diet is broadly about going on a calorie counted diet. This is what I believe good number of people are doing right now. Or better still, people associated with the fitness industry would just go crazy and gaga about this protein diet. Or better still, somebody who's looking for any specific kind of condition inside the body will get onto this path of fat diets. It could be a mono diet or a keto diet or a specific kind of a diet. Temporarily, of course, if it is the need of your body, of course you need it, but this is not the pattern that your body needs for a lifetime. It's something that will deplete you of your pranic energy, will drain you completely. So how does, I'll just take you deeper into these concepts. Okay, so what is the, now we are again coming back to the ancient approach or the pranic approach. Now this pranic approach of looking at foods and beauty can be looked at from three different oldest ancient cultures. I'm sure there would be other modalities also, but I will be talking of these three modalities because this is where I'm educated into. Macrobiotic, which is the science of understanding food energy. Like if I have to give an example, okay, I'll give you an example later. There's a slide later in the entire PPT. But quickly, I'll just tell you how that beauty happens. So at the very first place, what happens is we consume a certain choice. We have certain choices of food. We consume those every single day, and we have been doing it for quite many years in the past. What is happening is there are different levels of processing of that food happening inside the body. Ultimately, before that food becomes your own energy, when the cell breaks down those nutrients with the help of oxygen in the cell, there is a series of activities happening inside. And what is the series of activities? Food getting converted into usable nutrients by the body through the process of digestion and absorption. Once it gets digested and absorbed, is where all that nutrients go and get mixed into the blood. So which means food ultimately becomes your blood. What is moving inside your body as your blood is nothing but what you have consumed, you have been consuming as food for maybe today or last few months or for years, is what your blood condition is going to be. Blood, because blood has this connectivity throughout the body. You can say blood is the transport system of our body. Each and every cell has a very minute connection with blood. So these vessels are further divided into capillaries. These capillaries are subdivided into these small channels, and it is only that even a dot of that blood being supplied to that cell, from where that cell is using all that nutrition and oxygen taken in through your breath, and that's why breath is very important. Burning nutrition with the help of oxygen and producing that radiant energy that we're talking about, that is where your pranic energy is also getting fueled. So food converting into blood, blood converting into cells. Cluster of cells is your tissues. When I say tissues, it's like, it could be blood is one form of tissue, your bone is another form of tissue, your organs are another form of tissue. So whatever organ formation or part formation is happening inside the body is happening because your blood is supplying some specific kind of nutrition to each and every part of the body. Now, when your organ functioning is not right, now this might come as a surprise. If your organs are not functioning right, your emotional health is not going to be right. I'll give you an example. Somebody who has a very tendency of getting very angry, somebody who's a very angry person, his or her liver is not functioning. I would not say liver has a problem. What I'm saying is liver may be under or overactive, which does not. So medically, it doesn't come under the category of illness. It's a very subtle concept. Which is so you can look at it in the form of progression of a disease. Some disease happens someday, or some skin issue happens someday. It did not happen in a day. Some you were not born with those skin issues. Some changes were happening inside the body over years. When those changes did happen, some functioning went wrong inside the body. That functioning at the initial level starts to go wrong when your body is internally clogged. And if you remember, the definition of beauty that we talked of initially was clean, free-flowing beauty from body from inside. So when your organs have to deal with a lot of toxicity coming in through your foods or through other sources, ultimately the organ functioning will go low. Another example, I think this is one example that we all can relate to. If you constantly scold a small child, he or she develops this tendency of passing in the pants. Somebody who's very scared will pass in the pants. So emotion of fear has a very direct relation with your kidney. Somebody who's very fearful will ultimately develop a very weak kidney condition. Somebody who has a weak condition over time will automatically become very fearful, and that's why organ functioning and emotions are very directly related. This is a science which is again a subtle science. Modern science does not believe in it. These are ancient sciences which Ayurveda has talked about, which yogic sciences have talked about, which traditional Chinese medicine have talked about. And these are very integrated sciences, what I'm trying to say. When we talk of mind-body connect, this is what I mean by what the mind-body connect is. Organ functioning will directly impact your emotions. Your heart condition, feeling of love is directly related to your heart, right? So love, joy, feelings of love and joy is the emotion of the heart. And that's why we see it has been proven in research, unhappy people who are sadistic by nature are the ones who go through these maximum of heart problems. Why? Because if emotion of joy and love is missing in life, ultimately it will start to impact the flow of blood in your heart, and that's where the heart condition starts to become weaker over time, ultimately manifesting overuse into something. And that is what mind body health is. So if we have to broadly understand, coming back to from the beauty perspective, from the foods that you consume, your blood condition gets formed. From that blood condition, your tissues are formed. If your tissues are strong, of course, your functioning is going to be strong. When the functioning is strong and the internal channels are unclogged, like you're not polluting your body, so internal channels are unblocked, that's where the free flow pathways open up. That's where the clean supply of nutrients, oxygen reaches to the cells. And from the cells is where your beauty starts to happen. It does not happen at your at your skin level or at your face level or at your body level. It happens deep within, which shows on the skin as radiance or clean skin or beauty or whatever you call it. Okay, so why are modern dietary concepts damaging they may be damaging for the beauty. I'm not saying they are damaging, but they may be damaging if your modern diet is not planned well. How? The modern diet concept, the calorie concept or the protein concept does not ever get into the concept of food energetics. This is something which is a missing concept, which is a concept, again, coming from the ancient. If you look at Ayurveda diet, it is based on the concept of energetics. When they say that you should be waking up at a certain time, consuming meals at a certain time, consuming meals this way, it is nothing but they have understood the energetics, how certain combinations of foods work the best inside the body and not polluting it or putting some stress on the body. That will ultimately keep you ageless or healthy for a very, very long time. So there is a very deep-rooted science behind all these, Ayurveda dietary concepts we can talk of, or traditional Chinese medicine concepts or yogic concepts. These have their own understanding, but ultimately the understanding of all these concepts boils down to one single point, which is the idea of balance, is what we are talking here. So these do not talk of the energetics. These concepts just look at the food from the quantitative perspective. Like what do we do to ourselves? Like, if you are on a protein kind of a diet, ultimately what happens is you will pollute your body a lot. You will, protein is very acidifying. Okay, so if you go on a protein diet, morning, evening, afternoon, just being on a protein diet, going very low on carb consumption, or not compensating your protein with some good quantity of fruits and vegetables, ultimately that protein is something like acid for the body. People who consume a lot of protein over years in their initial or early years, in the later years tend to develop a lot of starting with uric acid issues to joint pain to arthritis to n number of problems, because protein is the toughest for the body to digest. Having said that, protein is very important. We cannot go off protein, but there are specific protocols how you should be consuming protein, how you should be mindful of consuming protein, and how you should not be getting crazy just designing your diet all around protein itself. Now, the modern diet can also be very inflammatory if not planned well. What does that mean is, if your dietitian tells you that you have bread omelette, for example, in the morning, okay, so if you're consuming say 2 slices, go on to 1 slice and have one egg, omelette or egg, however you want. So we have reduced your calories, say from 400 or 500 calories to 300 calories, and now you will start to lose weight. Do you think this can affect your beauty or appearance any which way? It will. How? Because we are just looking at bringing down the calories. We are not looking at what are the additives that are going into that bread that are clogging our internal body, that are making us unclean, that are. So you remember that clean body state. That clean body state will happen if your body is least on pesticides, if your body is least on additives, if your body is least on colored agents, if your body is least on refined and processed foods. Okay, so which means you have reduced your calories. Of course, weight is working, but the kind of foods that you're consuming, the choices of foods that you're doing are ultimately making you even more, are deteriorating you even more. You may end up losing weight, maybe, this year or next few years, as soon as you get into your 40s, because 40s for females is a time when there's a huge shift happening. We will be doing one session on that as well. It's completely a different way of taking care of yourself as soon as you enter your 40s. But till 30s, your body will be able to manage. Why? Because hormones are in balance. As soon as you touch your 40s, you will drastically start to see huge changes happening to your skin, huge changes. Your capacity to lose weight will go drastically down. Then you run pillar to post to one nutritionist or the other asking why my weight is not going down. 1 year back, I did the same diet, it went down. It has nothing to do with the diet. It is because your body has changed, your hormones have changed, and you have to change according to support those changes inside the body. If you don't do that, then those same diets, that same counted pattern, that same calorie pattern or protein pattern will not work for you. And what will happen is gradually you will start to accumulate a lot of toxins because the movement goes slow. You haven't changed your food. So, weight, of course, will be stable to a certain level. But with the kind of choices that we keep making, ultimately, another 10 years, 50 years, even if you have maintained yourself for previous few years, at the age of 40s and 50s, you will start to have those pigmentation and wrinkles and everything. Why? Because we will again back to the beauty mantra, you are not internally clean, which is the concept that modern diet does not ever talk about or believe in ever. And modern diet also does not consider the overall functionality of the body in total. Like, for example, what is the interaction of your digestive system with your liver? How are your lungs interacting with your heart? How are your lungs interacting with your large intestine? Like, I'll give an example. Somebody who's constipated will have the worst skin ever. I mean, that's where your skin starts to get bad. So if you are looking for that treatment or a miracle or a peel done for your acne or for that dullness on the skin, don't think of it. Just look at yourself. Are you constipated? If yes, that peel will not give you the results the way clearing your constipation will give you. You have to look inside what is not right within yourself. So, and what is the connection between a large intestine and your lungs? If you lack fullness of breath, your large intestine will never be clean, and that's the reason yogic philosophy is way above anything, because whether you talk of health or your skin or your beauty, it will start it will start to get robbed the moment your colon is not clean, your large intestine is not clean. Your large intestine is not going to be clean unless you have a full breathing capacity. So it starts with the breath. Again, going back to the concept of breath. Okay, so so we've just talked of what the modern concepts of beauty and foods are. What are the ancient concepts and the approach to beauty, or the food energetics that I've been talking about? This is something that you will not understand in one day, frankly. I'll be very honest, because I mean, I have been studying it for last 10, 12 years, and now I have started to get some hold of what this means, overall. But broadly, I'll try to create some examples so that you can at least start feeling it, because this energetics is the concept of not counting or knowing or seeing in the books what is happening. It's more about feeling what is happening inside the body. So you kind of connect with your own intuition, you connect with your own body, your own intelligence to see what is going on inside my body, and then use foods to bring about those pranic changes inside the body. I'll give an example. So first of all, this food energetics. When we talk of the modern diet approach, it only works with the Annamaya kosha. It is all about physical. It does not get into the pranic zone or the energetic zone. Have you ever seen a dietitian telling you or asking you like, you've gone through my diet plan, how do you feel? Is your energy level up? It never happens. They're only concerned about how many numbers have you dropped, right? The energetic approach or the ancient approach is about Annamaya kosha and Pranamaya kosha both. It talks of how your body is forming and how your pranic energy is fueling or helping your outer body to reach a certain stage of its vibrance, at its beauty, at its peak capacity from the inside. I'll give an example. This can be a takeaway from you, for you also. You can just note it down if you want. Start your day with lemon and ginger drink or lemon and ginger water, howsoever you would want to make it. Warm lemon and ginger water. Now, if you look at Ayurveda will specially talk of this concept. Why? If you talk from the modern perspective, science will tell you lemon has vitamin C. It of course protects your immunity. It is good for your skin. Ginger has anti-inflammatory benefits, and everything is okay. That's from the modern perspective. Why? Because we can quantify it. We can figure out what is there in that physical self of a ginger or a lemon. From the energetic perspective, we can only feel. Like for example, when you start regularly having lemon in the morning, you will immediately feel very fresh. You will feel energized. You will feel your system is cleaning, because gradually your system it kind of stimulates your liver to start the cleansing process from the inside. So it's rejuvenating. It clears out dryness. What are the energetics of ginger? Ginger, if you consume, like somebody who consumes a lot of ginger can feel how heated you feel when you consume ginger. That is the energetic. How do you feel about ginger when it goes inside? It feels heaty. Because of the heat, it has dispersing nature. Like if you have some toxins accumulated in some part of the body, specifically in your lung area or phlegm, and that is the reason we say ginger tea when your lungs are clogged. Why? Because ginger has dispersing properties. It has heating properties. It will melt what is there in your specifically in your respiratory tract. So it has this dispersing properties. It will just scatter what is collected as toxins inside the body. So for what it will do is it will first scatter. It will create heat. It will create a scattering or a dispersing energy, and that dispersing energy will also disperse the toxic molecules, separating them out and then gradually making them get out of the body. That melting effect will happen and the unclogging will happen. So that toxin was creating clogging inside the body, but because of that melting, heating and dispersing effect, the area got unclogged. Now this is something that science cannot prove. This is something that you can feel and tell yourself, okay, this worked for me, because when I had ginger, I felt heat inside the body. I could feel that constantly after having ginger. I felt that my respiratory health got better, and over time I could feel that yes, my lungs are functioning fine. So this is energetics. Very small example. I don't know how much will you be able to grasp out of it, but energetics is something that you don't read or study in the book. It's something that you gradually relate to, or you start to feel inside the body, and then it's kind of a very intuitive kind of a way of knowing. Of course, you can gradually get into Ayurveda way of looking at foods. They tell you, okay, this food has this kind of energetic, but gradually you come to the understanding of this by actually experiencing it by yourself. So that makes lemon and ginger a superfood and a beauty food. Now you will kind of think like we are talking of there are n number of foods and studies that come and tell you that have blueberries, have n number of beauty foods entering the market, or this powder, that powder, and whatever, like n number of foods. And as simple as ginger and lemon, which we have been using over years, but we did not knew that it is a beauty food. How it is a beauty food? Because it's, of course, vitamin C and anti-inflammatory benefits are there. That's the scientific side of it. The energetic side of it is constantly working on unclogging you. And if we go back to the definition of beauty back again, the beauty mantra: clean, clear body, free flowing, and internally clean. So ginger helps you clean from inside. Lemon helps you clean from inside. Just to get deeper into that concept, when we clean those copper or brass vessels with lemon, how quickly that dirt just comes out of that brass and copper vessel. That is the power of lemon. The way it scrapes off dirt out of these vessels, similarly it scrapes off dirt out of our body. And that's why lemon and ginger is something that's highly recommended in Ayurveda practices as an energetic idea of cleaning your body early morning, because our body is most toxic in the morning. Whole night the body works on on clearing out the toxins. And in the morning we are all full of toxins, and that's the reason all those foul smells and that heavy feeling, all that is there. Why? Because we are all full of toxins. In the morning we need to support our body to be free flowing and internally clean in the morning itself, to the best of our ability. Okay, so how Annamaya and Pranmaya kosha form us, like how the foods or the physical side and the pranic side form us, come together to form us or to create our beauty. When the foods and their energetics, like we'll take this example of lemon and ginger only. Lemon and ginger worked in a certain way to create that heat, to improve your circulation, and to create some effect inside the body, which work towards cleaning you, or creating that energetic flow of heat inside the body. So this is the energy. So when foods and their energies interact with the body, so the energy of ginger and lemon interacted with your body to create heat, to improve upon circulation. You create a different spark of radiance within you. This will never ever happen when you get onto a calorie counted plan, because these concepts are never understood in modern science or modern nutrition ever. That's the beginning of everlasting beauty. If your body is clean and free flowing from inside, is where you start to create the base for that everlasting skin and hair and beauty or weight in later years of your life. This idea is way beyond calorie and protein counting. And when it is about energy, so if we are talking only of weight loss from the numbers perspective, of course, calorie diet or protein diet can give you miraculous results. But when it is about energy, your whole body, interacts or is involved in this entire process. It is not just about adding some foods or cutting some foods and counting their energies and proteins and putting inside the body, just making and being very happy that, okay, I'm having a calorie counted diet plan. It doesn't work like that. Okay, I will try to get in detail into the food energetic side of it that we have been talking about. This will actually help you design your diet or pattern in a way where you understand what is balance, what are the two extreme sides of balance. When we talk of balancing or keeping body internally clean or free flowing, we also mean that we are in balance. When we say we are in balance, it means everything, that our routine is in balance, our foods are in balance, and our lifestyle is in imbalance, and our emotions are also in balance. So everything is coming together. But what route do you pick up from those 5 koshas is where your uniqueness lies. Like for me, when my transformation happened, when I was studying all these, I was completely unaware of these concepts. My transformation started to happen with Annamaya kosha, because this is what I was studying, this is what I was learning, and I was applying all these concepts in my practice. So I picked up the root of Annamaya kosha, and gradually I kept getting deeper, starting with the foods. My physical body changed, my tissues became healthier and strong. Gradually it became so strong that any kind of emotional issues that I was going through, automatically I could feel after a while, maybe after a year or so, the intensity of my emotional issues had drastically gone down. I did not do anything, I was not on any medications or any therapy or anything, but automatically it happened. Why? Because physical got strong, mental emotional got strong, and I automatically reached the stage which we call as a bliss or a peaceful state of being. So how do you use your Annamaya kosha to attain balance? Is through foods. So all these 3 oldest ancient cultures talk of this attainment of balance. Okay, so we are talking of 3 modalities. We are talking of macrobiotics, we are talking of Ayurveda, and we are talking of traditional Chinese medicine. So TCM and macrobiotics is almost the same thing, and Ayurveda and yogic is almost the same thing. So I'll just combine these concepts. Macrobiotic and TCM, where I'm coming from. So these look at balance from the perspective of yin and yang, from the perspective of 2 extremities. Like, let me give you an example. Cold and hot. Okay, then your day and night. So these are extremes. Like when we are somewhere around 12 o'clock at night, we are at the peak of darkness, between 12 to 2 or 12 to 1, right? That is one extreme. Somewhere in the daytime, from say 12 to 2, we are in the peak of light. And in between times, like early morning and evening times, we are in that transition mode, which is not the peak. So what is the balance? From the day perspective, the balance does not lie in these peak areas. The balance lies in the off-peak areas. And that is the reason they tell you that whenever any soothing activities or mind-calming activities you're supposed to do in off-peak hours, or you have to take care of yourself. Use those off-peak time to build your energies. And that's the reason it's always said that you wake up early in the morning, you follow certain set of practices. In the evening, start preparing for the night. You build certain practices that give you a good night's sleep, because in those peak areas, either your energy will soar very high or your energy will go very low. Why is that happening? Because our body internally is deeply impacted by the energies of the nature. So Again, I'm not very sure how many of you have ever experienced this, but a lot of people that in our practice also and otherwise also have experienced 12 to 1 or 2 is the time when if somebody is on a very is very active by nature, okay, or very heated kind of a person, aggressive kind of a person, 12 to 1 will be the time their heat will be at its peak. So when you talk of aggressiveness, it means heat, it means sun, it means, so this is energetics. Like, understanding the extremes. What are the associations with these extremes? Yin is cold. Somebody who has a very cold kind of a nature or a very cold kind of a body. How do you figure that out? Somebody who's very lean, somebody who doesn't have a lot of muscles, is more on the yin side, is more on the darkness side, or does not have much of light or radiance happening inside. So how do you create a balance? Bringing this person from yin towards the yang side, not towards the 100% yang side, but bringing him somewhere in the middle. How do you do that? By adopting certain food practices, certain lifestyle practices, and certain mind and emotional practices that start to drift you away from your darkness, cool, or vata kind of a nature, very moving kind of a nature, to a stable nature, to a heated nature. From the food perspective, what do you do with these people? You start incorporating foods which are little heating in nature. Like, for example, we talked of ginger. For a cold kind of a personality, ginger will go a long way, whether it be an emotional issue or a physical issue or a mental issue, because all these energetics are irrespective of physical, mental, emotional, universe, nature, everything. Everything is based on these energetics, and it can apply to universally to anything and everything that exists in the universe. So again, coming back to the foods, how do we bring about balance in the food when we talk of two extremes? If you look at the right side of first image, bottom side, yang foods, if you look at salt, eggs, meat, poultry, hard cheese, okay, these foods are extremely on the yang side. These are very, very heating. These are very, very aggressive, aggression giving kind of foods, okay. And similarly on the other side, if you look at the left side, bottom, you see drugs, wine and spirits, coffee and tea, sugar, honey, spices, cocoa. These are all yin foods. These are cooling foods. These will kind of, what over time, what will happen is, of course, somebody tells you that you're on a calorie counted diet plan and you are working on yourself. It is okay even if you're having 1 cup of coffee. From an energetic perspective, I will never ever put my client or our clients or customers ever onto extreme foods ever. Okay, what we will do is we'll try to maintain the balance. We will try to bring them into the center. So very first level of change when you think of balance will start to happen when you start to consume 70 to 80% of your foods which lie just in the center. Now, which are the centering foods? Fruits, sea vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, grains. So these broadly form the centering foods. When you bring these things into the center, whatever you talk of from the health perspective, you talk of digestive issues, you talk of liver issues, you talk of inflammation, you talk of any manifestation of imbalances of energy happening inside the body, automatically you will see everything will start to fall in balance automatically. So this is from the food perspective. And that is the reason when people okay, so let me give another example. Yang foods are very contractive in nature and yin foods are very expansive in nature. When I say expansive and contractive, it literally means expansive and contractive. For example, somebody who consumes a lot of sugar, we know somebody who consumes sugar ultimately becomes fat. How do you define fat? It is an expansive property, right? And somebody who you come across, somebody who's aged to a certain extent, whose wrinkles have started to show badly on the face and body has contracted, and somebody who was in a very good body shape a few years ago and over years they have drastically gone down with the body shape contracting badly. What has happened to them? Their yang aspect has gone up. So maybe they're consuming certain foods, or mentally their thought process is too yang or too aggressive, or they're living a lifestyle which is supporting too much of a yang, because of which ultimately, because of too much of yang, it is showing everywhere. It is showing in the body going contracted. It is showing in their skin getting contracted and those wrinkles building up. It is showing in their mindset also. A lot of people who get contracted over time, like we can relate it to a lot of elders who become very rigid and inflexible after a certain time. Like you want to explain them certain things. In these times also, you want them to, just don't go out. If they have a routine, they will not listen. Why? Because they have gotten into that contracted mode. Everything has contracted. Their thought process is contracted. How do you bring about balance? You start to move them more on the yin side, more on the cooling side. How? By incorporating foods which are balanced, yin, not the extreme yin. What are the balanced yin? Somewhere between yin and balance, there's another category which talks of milk and yogurt, tropical fruits, tropical vegetables, fermented vegetables, herbs, specific herbs, depending what condition you have. Then grain sweeteners, all these things. And somebody who's gotten very expansive because of sugar or being on the yin side, You bring them into balance by moving them more on the yang side of it. So that's how you create a balance. That's how you play around with foods to bring about that balance. And when once that balance starts to happen, what happens? If the balance is there, all the organs start to get back into their shape. Organs start get into their shape. The internal channels start to open up. Free flow of nutrients starts to happen. Energy, oxygen flow starts to happen properly. The nutrition reaches the cell. Oxygen reaches the cell. Cell starts to get back another, good level of communication back with the brain, with the cellular contact from where that energy is infused, and that energy is what is creating your radiance from the inside out. Okay, so that was from the macrobiotic and TCM perspective, how Ayurvedic and yogic food energetic model looks like. It is very similar to yin and yang. The terminology is different, understanding is different, but it is the same thing. So you look at the right side of it, which looks as a black dot, and you look at the left side, which looks at as the red dot. Red resembles yang, black resembles yin. In the center is the balance. Ayurveda calls that balance as sattva. So, and that's why if you see a lot of people associated with yoga and Ayurveda always talk of sattvic diet. Why do they talk of sattvic diet? Why? Because they know getting onto extreme of anything, extreme of yin will make us dull, will make us inactive, will make us negative, will make us depressive, will make us ignorant. We will not be able to achieve what we want to achieve. Too much of rajas or yang will make me hyperactive. I will have energy, but too much of it that will start to show on my skin as a flushed complexion, as rashes on the skin. All these heated conditions like acne is a condition of too much of rajas inside the body. Then wrinkles is a condition of too much of tamas inside the body. How do you attain balance? By living in the center. And when I say living in the center, that's where the philosophy, the fourth philosophy that we talked about, Svarasya's philosophy, which is self-realization dimension, comes into the picture, because this is where we tell you that you have to develop your own intuition, your self-realization, what is good for you and what is not. A lot of people will come and tell you this is good. A lot of researchers will come and tell you this is good. This portion of nutrition, this is why it is good. A lot of people are there to tell you, but nothing is bigger than your own intuition when you start to understand this model of working with yourself. Okay, so this from the sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic side, these are the kind of foods that Ayurveda recommends as two extremes, rajasic and tamasic and sattvic. Now, it does not mean that we have to be 100% on sattvic. What it means is it will highly depend on what kind of a person you are. If you are more on the yin side or tamasic side, if you're more on the rajasic side or yang side, you have to include some part of tamasic to bring about balance with the too much of rajasic. You have to bring about some part of rajasic to bring about balance with too much of tamasic to get into that sattvic thing. So it does not mean, so if you look at the chart, it does not mean that I just eliminate everything from rajasic and tamasic and I just be on sattvic. No. Sattvic, say about 70 to 80%, 20% has to be pulled in from rajasic and tamasic, depending what imbalance do you lie in, and to balance that. So that's how the energetics of Ayurveda and yogic model go. Okay, so now if we look at the collective pranic view of food from energetic perspective, whether it be yin-yang way of looking at it, or whether it be sattvic or rajasic or tamasic way of looking at it, for us, for a layman, what does it mean from the beauty or health or skin or well-being perspective? It means skin and hair issues, weight issues, health or wellness, whatever you call it, everything starts with imbalance inside the body. That acne that you see, that those wrinkles happening inside the body, is because you lie at certain level of imbalance inside the body. That imbalance, in the modern sense or modern language, also resonates with your pH level inside the body. So whether you are of an alkaline body state or an acidic body state, is where you will, is where your beauty precisely will depend on from the modern scientific perspective. But the concept of alkaline and acidic is very much resonates with what we have discussed from the macrobiotic, TCM, and Ayurveda or yogic perspective. So it's the modern way of saying, okay, I'm getting more onto the sattvic or balanced way of life. When I say I'm getting more on the alkaline way of life, which means I'm trying to create my balance. When that balance happens, beauty will automatically happen. Why? Because internal channels are clean, my blood is clean, my cells have what they need, and they are passing on that nutrition and energy to everywhere inside my body, whether it be for skin or health or whatever. So which means food in its gross sense is calories and nutritional, which we can count. Food in its subtle sense is prana, energy or life force, and depends on balance. How do we create that balance is what we have just discussed from the from these ancient modalities perspective. Little example on yin energy. So this yin energy or yang energy or balance energy is it's a very, very vast science. I cannot even kind of explain. Rather, I would not say when I am there where I can understand what all it does it resonate with. But yes, what I can tell you is everything in the world. So if we talk of our body, if we say that okay, I'm more of a yang type or more of a Rajasic type or a Sattvic type or whatever, okay, you break down your body into different parts. It will also mean that as a whole you may be yang type, but when you dissect your body, when you say that my left side of the body and my right side of the body, again there is a distinction between yin and yang. When you get little more deeper, you get into your up and down side of the body. Even that is divided into yin and yang. So what it means is the smallest aspect or the biggest aspect or even the universe, everything is complete. It has a yang side, it has a yin side, it has a tamasic side, it has a rajasic side, and it will always be there. Night cannot happen without day, day cannot happen without night. So those positive and negative elements will always be there. We are in the best state of ourselves, whether it be health or beauty, when we are in balance. So the ultimate crux is that if we can adopt a lifestyle or a diet which keeps us in balance, is where we will start to see a lot of changes, positively, negatively, happening all over our body, whether it be at the body level, skin level, or mind level. Just to give you some examples, this is from the macrobiotic perspective, how we look at life force or pranic food energy of the food. Upward rising energy, something like yin. So, upper part of the body is considered yin, central part of the body or digestion considered balance, and the lower part of the body is considered yang. Okay, so somebody who has upper body health issues, like somebody who has a very weak kind of lung respiratory health, we will make them go high on green leafy vegetables. Why? Because green leafy vegetables is yin energy. It grows upwards. It is carrying that energy which grows upwards. Somebody who feels very weak in the lower part of the body will have more of will be lacking more of yang energy. How do we balance it with the food? We will start to incorporate foods which grow under the earth, which have more of contractive energy, which are more of yang and concentrated, something like a radish or a carrot. And grounding food, something like balancing energy, something like a pumpkin or a bottle gourd, or I don't know if we all have heard it from our older generations. They used to tell us, okay, your stomach is not well or not feeling well, just don't eat anything spicy or heavy or tasteful. Just go with maybe a pumpkin vegetable with or some khichdi or something like that. So they did understand the energetics. It was, again, if you go back to the calorie concept, nobody will tell you that okay, your stomach is not okay, don't have khichdi or have a pumpkin soup or have a bottle gourd soup. Why? Or bottle gourd vegetable. But this is more of a energetic science which ancients already knew about it. They had experienced, they had felt it, and that's why how it all got documented. Okay, so now we'll come back to the physical part of it, the Annamaya Kosha. We have tried to understand the energetics. We have understood what ancients have talked about it. We have understood what are the balancing foods. What happens when we go off balance? How, now this is typically from how our skin condition starts to get bad when we are not in balance, using the wrong kinds of foods and wrong pranic energy getting inside our body, even if it means the bestest of food. Okay, so for example, if you are consuming foods which are on either side of the balance, maybe hyper or hypo, which is like too much of positive or too much of negative, ultimately what will happen is, we know that every part of the body is complete in itself. It has a yin, it has a yang, and it sustains on balance, which means whether it be your digestive system or a circulatory system or cellular health or your nervous health or your homeostatic processes or your blood condition or hormonal system, all of these systems inside the body work in a state when you are in a complete state of balance. When they are balanced, they will do their job properly. When they do their job properly, digestion will be optimal. The nutrients that you will extract from the food will reach the right place. Your blood will be all full of right nutrients and oxygen. Your nervous health will be balanced so that there's no disruption in your digestive processes. Your blood condition will be positive and alkaline, and your hormonal health will be in balance. When that balance is there, we again go back to the definition of beauty. Your body is internally clean and your prana is flowing free. So this is, again, that is the depth of what we are trying to cover in this session. At a superficial level or at a top layer level, we just understand, okay, if I have constipation, my skin is not going to be good, or if my hormonal health is not good, I know it starts to show on my hair and skin. How does that happen is what we are discussing now. This is what happens, because these systems the functioning of these systems, because of the choices that we make through our foods and lifestyle, starts to go bad. It's not those foods creating a problem. It's never those foods. Of course, wrong kind of foods going in do create a problem. But if we are living a balanced way of life, still things are not working. It is not the foods. It is these systems somewhere have some clogging or blockage, or internal flow is not fine, because of which those foods are getting clogged somewhere. That energy is not passing to the right place. The liver is not functioning fine, or cell is not able to produce that energy, maybe because I do not have enough oxygen or enough good nutrients passing on to my cells. So that functioning is up and down. That is where you start to have a lot of acne, lot of wrinkles, contraction starts to happen inside the body. You start to have a lot of pigmentation or heat related, rash related issues, and more chronic skin issues which are happening these days. Too bad, something like a psoriasis or a rosacea, or all these, medically to be seen skin conditions which are way beyond all these small conditions like acne. But these are like too much imbalance or too much on being on the yang side. We are always on the move. These are happening because at the deepest level somewhere we are too much on the move. We have stopped to be on the yin side or the relaxation side or on the just be side. We are more in the doing way of life. Okay, so how these foods interact with the body? When we consume foods, either they are balanced or whether they are imbalanced. Whatever kind of foods you consume, when they are out of balance, it supports your optimal digestion. It supports your liver and purifies the toxicity. It supports your circulation. Because of the circulation, it reaches your cells. It supports your cellular functioning that converts nutrition into radiant energy. It supports your nervous system that keeps the digestion processes in balance. It supports homeostatic processes that maintain internal balance and help you create perfect environment inside. It supports your alkaline blood condition that carries pure, impure blood to the cells. And it supports your hormones that ensure internal processes function all right. Now, if these processes are working fine, is where you will ensure that the beauty is happening at the peak level. It is not that something that you're applying on the skin, or that peel that you're getting done for your pigmentation, or that treatment that you're doing for your acne. It is these organ functioning, or these systems which are creating that everlasting beauty that we're talking about. So when we talk of the calorie counter protein diet concept, it is just about counting calories or counting proteins to help specific parts of the body. But it doesn't go beyond to understand all these concepts that we're talking about. It doesn't talk of digestion, liver, purification, circulation, cellular functioning, and all these concepts. So high protein diet, quickly I'll just take you through the perils of consuming these modern way of looking at diet. What happens when you go on a high protein diet? Your bloodstream becomes toxic over time. It doesn't happen in a day. Of course, you do build up muscles, but over time you will see your energy levels start to go low. Your body will become way more stiff, very, very stiff. You will not be able to move like yogis move up, front, back, upside down. Protein will kind of make you something like a zombie kind of appearance over years. It will just make you stick to where you are. Toxicity in the blood will make your blood acidic. It will create a lot of clogging and will stop the free flow, which is the first condition for beauty inside out. If your body is not clean, the flow is not proper, ultimately all kinds of skin issues will start to happen. Toxic liver does not process out impurities right, making a bloodstream will become sluggish. It will become slow, which means cells will not reach their nutrition, will not have their nutrition reaching to them properly. And if the cells do not have that nutrition and oxygen, you do whatever peels or anything for your skin to bring about that radiance, it is not going to happen, because somewhere it is not being supported from the inside. And of course, at the deepest most level, your cellular functioning goes for a toss. Everything goes for a toss. And what happens when you go on a calorie counted diet? In a calorie counted diet pattern, we do not put a stop on the prohibited food. That's the biggest problem. Like bread is also allowed, cornflakes is also allowed. All these processed and refined foods are also allowed, as long as they lie into the category of those calories that you're wanting to achieve. Which means calories have gone down, but the inputs or the toxins which should be prohibited have not gone down. So it may also create imbalances due to blockages because of hormonal imbalances, sluggish and stagnant digestion. All these blockages will happen when imbalances happen. Imbalances happen when your foods have even this minor amount of pesticides, chemicals, cornflakes, breads, and all these outside, more of refined kind of stuff coming in from the outside, even if it is calorie counted or protein rich. Calorie counted diet may also impact your liver capacity to process toxins, and it may be nutritionally deficient if it is not planned properly, because you may be more on the protein side and lesser on the carbon, vitamin and mineral side. So it has to be planned really properly. It has to be a calorie counted plan, and does not consider the state of digestion and absorption, which is the most important baseline concept of having that ageless beauty forever. Your digestion and absorption has to be right. Your bowels have to be clean. Constipation is the biggest disaster for your beauty forever. Okay, quickly, how food show up on your face. Now, what we have discussed, what happens inside the body. When these conditions happen inside the body, it starts to show on your face. Somebody who has a very wrinkly kind of a forehead and wrinkles specifically on the outer sides of the cheeks is somebody who consumes sugars a lot. Somebody who has a dairy face will have a very plumpy and too much of white pus-filled acne kind of a face. Somebody who is more on the fermented, more of the fermented, heated kind of foods will have a very flashy kind of a skin, sorry. Somebody who is a very red, rashy kind of, sensitive kind of a skin probably will be more on these kinds of foods, and somebody who's more on the gluten will have similar signs, something like a wine face, but more puffy and bloated kind of a face. So for us, we can just look at your face and tell you what kind of where is your beauty heading. Of course, it also means at a deeper level where your health is heading, but it's all shows on your face. So quickly, gluten look will be something like shows on your red cheeks as spots around the chin as high inflammation. Wine or fermentation look will be something like fine lines and wrinkles, enlarged pores, redness on the skin, internal, external. Fermentation, it also dehydrates the skin, which is where you start to get all those wrinkles. Too much of sugar look will be something like a dull, saggy skin. A process called glycation, which is responsible for it kind of brings down or damages your collagen and elastin fibers, which is where that is the beginning of aging for our skin. And the dairy look, which is like puffy eyelids, somebody who has a very bloated kind of a face probably is very high on dairy products. Okay, so this is one of the reviews from one of our clients. So somebody who had huge acne problem, very heated kind of a condition. We just worked on bringing about balance in their body, and within a week's time, that inflammation or that heat started to go down and acne started to come down, which did not happen ever with any kind of medication, any kind of calorie or protein diet that she had been ever. So, this is the power of merging inside with the outside when you think of beauty. So we really have to make a shift in terms of our thought process also, that beauty, and stop looking for that one product miracle. It is just a method. It does not ever happen. Beauty begins from the inside and is maintained on the outside is the right approach of understanding it. Okay, what happens when you eat in the imbalanced way? So when you eat in the imbalanced way, which we have discussed, ultimately inside what is happening when your organs are not functioning right, and what are the changes happening inside the body which are ultimately leading to all that aging process inside the body. Inflammation will start to happen, digestive issues will start to happen, acidic body, congested liver, deprived cells, your lungs will be deprived of good breathing capacity, blood sugar will be high, insulin will be high, you will be dehydrated. And this is what is going to happen when you have all these body conditions internally, because you made certain choices which are making you go through all these body conditions, which is digestive issues, inflammation, high blood sugar, whatever. Ultimately, it will, your skin structure, collagen and elastin will be destroyed, which is responsible for plump and flexible kind of complexion. A lot of changes in complexion will happen: breakouts, irritation, hyperpigmentation, dryness, rosacea, sensitive skin, any kind of skin condition that you can think of will start to happen when your internals go through any of the condition that you see on the left side. And these conditions happen when your food choices are not right, when your lifestyle is not right. Okay, principles for eating everlasting beauty. Maybe you can just take a screenshot for this. This is where you start to bring about your transformation. The very first thing is, when you look at, even if you're on a calorie counted way of life, make sure that the foods that you're choosing are very high quality. That's the very first thing. Get off any kind of refined and processed foods, because any kind of toxicity entering your body, even if it is calorie counted, will ultimately give you those toxins. Block your channels. Block channels means beauty going haywire. Then make sure that your digestive health is good. Some of the pointers can be: start to chew your foods very well. Do not eat very hot and cold foods. Eat foods in time, and definitely go for a fast once a week. This is super powerful in bringing about that balance in your body and your skin. Will go a long way. Then go alkaline, which is 80-20 pH balance rule, which says consume 5 different colored fruits and vegetables a day, whatever it be. Start day with lemon and ginger, we've already discussed. And do not eat when distressed. Do not eat when you are in a stressed state of mind, even if it means going without food for that specific meal. Eating food in a stressed state is going to be much more disastrous than not having food. So, and then cleanse liver often, which means any bitter food, something like neem supplements, bitter and sour rather. So neem supplements or neem powder or bitter gourd juice or lemon water will go a long way in supporting your liver health. And Make sure that your state of mind is balanced. Your pranic force is at its peak when your mind is balanced, which is where your breathing and your meditation practices will go a long way. Okay, what are the aging foods? Uh, Broadly, if I have to categorize them, whatever you see here, refined oils, sugars, refined foods, dairy, gluten, all are aging foods. Somebody comes and tells you this food has this many vitamins, minerals, but it is a sweet food, it is a processed food. You be very sure it's not helping you, it is just helping the marketer. It is not the food for you that will support your beauty and body in the long run. I would just want to quote one story here. So when we started Svarasya, of course, as I said, we offer a lot of age-old skincare products. So the story goes like this: like we created this range which is coming from oldest ancient cultures of the world. So coming from my education in these ancient cultures, we have created these skincare products, which is something like recreating what old ancient women used to do in their times when cosmetic industry wasn't there. So we have maintained that that texture of the product the way it used to be in their ancient times, like the powdery form, just coming bringing about those ingredients together and just grinding them together to create in its most original form. So this is where we started as a skincare brand. Over time we realized that skincare is something, it's a big myth. I mean, of course, we need it, but it's half of the story. The other half of the story is what happens inside. So when we came up with this 5-dimensional philosophy, and then we, created this entire concept and the brand, the very first thing, so we also got into the food part of it, and then the very first food that we wanted to launch was oil. And it's a very common food, I do understand, everybody is doing it. But our idea of launching foods was, oils was, if there is one food that will age you like anything, it is going to be your oil. If I have to tell you to eliminate one food, even if you do not want to get rid of any of your lifestyle habit or dietary habit, get on to oils that are not inflammatory. Any kind of oil, whether it's any kind of oil that you see on the shelf of the retail stores, even if it is the biggest or the best brand that you know, if it is refined and processed, if it is there on the shelf for last 6 months, it is causing huge inflammation inside the body. Beauty starts to go bad when there is huge inflammation inside the body. So even if it means spending few bucks extra to get the best quality oil, invest in that. It will not just help your beauty, but will help your health also in the very, very long run. It will save your joints. It will save your entire body from a lot of damage inside. So that was the reason we launched these cold pressed oils, which are like, and we do it in small batches. Our idea was we wanted to really do it so that you get the supplies and we sell it so that the users get the latest part of it. So the whole idea is, of course, think of getting rid of refined oils, sugars, refined food, dairy, gluten. And the very first thing out of it is get rid of oils, whatever oils you have, get rid of it and get on board cold pressed, purest oils that you can find in the market. That is where you will start to bring about huge changes inside the body. So quickly, I guess these are the last slides. From the nutrient perspective, now I have come on from subtle to a very gross level. From the modern science perspective, if you want to understand what kind of nutrient helps your skin what way, this is how it goes. Don't worry about this. This chart we will share with you all in the mail. We have your email IDs. We'll share this chart in the mail. So the whole idea is, there are specific kind of nutrients which will help your beauty in specific ways, and there are specific sources from where you can design, pick up and design your diet from. So these are some of them. We will share these in a day or two in the email, so you can just keep a note of these or just check our email back and see if you got it, or else you can just drop us a mail if you don't get it. So this brings us to the end of the session. Before we end, we mentioned that start your day with lemon and ginger. That will help you create that heat and openness and clearing effect inside the body. Once you create that clearing effect, what next? The next step is you create an alkaline state inside the body. How do you do it? By getting onto a good smoothie formula that fills your body with some good sources of vitamins and minerals and good fiber inside the body. That will bring about, will start to unclog your body, will start to make it clean and clear from the inside. That is where the beginning is going to happen. One of the recipes is mentioned here. It's a very basic, simple recipe. If you want to go into a deeper, so we on our website, we have this recipe, but it's like an elaborated one where we haven't added all the more ingredients as well. So that's for the ones who can actually make some effort and go ahead with adding some other cleansing nutrients in their diet or the smoothie. But this is for the basics. Somebody who has never been on smoothies can start with this, what you see on the screen, and gradually move on deeper into other ingredients, which you can check it on our website. So that brings us on to the end of the session. I hope you like the session. We will be choosing 2 lucky winners, and thank you so much. I guess a lot of you had your cameras on and had been really attentive for the session. What I would want to request you is, the criteria for choosing the winners is going to be, please share 2-3 lines of your feedback about the session, and what did you learn, and what is it that you look forward from us to cover from all these 5 dimensions from the beauty perspective in our next session. So, basis which the two best answers will be getting a gift hamper from us. And you can also post your questions and queries if you have any in the chat box itself. We'll take note of the questions, and let me see if there are any quick questions. I can address them right now, and some of them which are not there, maybe we'll just cover them in the form of blogs on our website. You can just keep a check on our website. So yeah, that's it from my side. You can just answer the questions, put across your questions, and also share your feedback with us on the mailbox. Maybe we'll be there for another 5-10 minutes, and then we'll log off. If anyone has a question, maybe I can just take up a question in the meantime you're answering, putting across your answers. Or you can just unmute and ask a question. I'll be very happy to answer any of your questions.
Hello, Deepti. This is Shweta this side.
Yeah, Shweta, yeah, tell me.
Yeah, actually, Deepti, I don't have a gallbladder. I was operated for gallbladder 3 years back. So any particular kind of precaution I should take, or while selecting my foods, because they say don't at all go for fats and all without
yes, that's true. See, now let's start. Let's try to understand the energetics of gallbladder. Okay, of course, physically we know that gallbladder is responsible for for fat metabolism along with the help of the liver. Energetically, again, what it is doing is it is helping us get rid of any kind of oiliness inside the body, and that fat could be coming in from any source. It could be coming in from the refined oils that we are consuming, or the maybe pizzas, or the oils that we are adding to our foods, or even nuts and seeds. So everything is fat coming from any of these sources. When fat is going in, you need certain substances inside the body that can something like that can work on that fat, that slipperiness of the fat, and break it down into smaller molecules and push it out of the body so that it does not get clogged inside the body. Which means if you do not have a gallbladder, your capacity of producing that element which is supposed to break down the fats has gone very, very low. It does not exist. In that case, yes, you should be going very low on fats, because you are putting in fats, but you do not have those elements which will process those fats. In that case, you will keep piling up that fat because it is not getting broken, and ultimately you will create, over time, you will create some manifestation of it, either in body functioning form or in a disease form, and it will start to show up in your entire persona also. Maybe you'll start putting up a lot of kilos on yourself, or it will start to show up on your skin, because if liver is not processing the food, its inputs right, the very first area that will start to get clogged is your skin. It will start to show up on your skin. So going low on fats is a very good idea. Having said that, we do need fats for our cooking needs, which means get on to right kinds of fats. Omega-3, something like flaxseed or chia seed, is the right kind of fat that you should be consuming, not in a high quantity, and also limiting fats from these wrong sources, from outside foods, from refined oils that you're consuming for cooking. Invest in a very good quality cold pressed oil. Use it in a small quantity, but invest in good oils that at least are not polluting your body from inside. So of course, the approach has to be going low on fats, and even on proteins, because proteins are heavy on the system. So when you are going low on fats and proteins, your system is getting lighter. Okay, not that you're not supposed to have it, but get on to right kind of proteins. Go low on animal proteins by any chance if you consume animal fats. Be more on these beans and legumes, and even more positive protein sources like vegan quality are going to be something like a spirulina. It's a seaweed, which is a very good quality, highly absorbable protein by the body. So you get it on Amazon. You can just check out and order from there. Chia seeds also is some part of it is protein. So getting onto such foods which are vegan quality, which are 100% digestible by the body and also not depriving you of your nutrients is the way to go. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Deepti.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions? Okay, so we are still waiting for your answers. You have a chance to win hampers. Maybe we'll wait for another 5 minutes. If you could just share your feedback with us, even if it is a one-liner feedback, that's okay. That will give us actually some clues. No, I mean, tomorrow if we improve upon the workshop, what is it that we are supposed to add, or what you could not get grasp of, or simply if you like the workshop or not, whatever. That'll definitely help us in our future workshops. Okay, so our day has to start with lemon water followed by smoothie from day 1 onwards. Yes, preferably, yes, you do that. You energetically give yourself 7 days to 10 days time, and energetically you will start to see a lot of difference. Your body will start to feel lighter. You will start to feel little more positive, a little more connected with yourself, lot more energy. That's where the change it will start to happen. And gradually, if you stick yourself to this way of life, gradually we'll see a lot of other changes also happening, because it happens one by one. Everything is not going to happen in a day, but it's more of a lifestyle, as I say. It's not a 1 day or 10 day protocol. You can put your feedback in the chat box itself. So those who are not able to understand where to put the feedback, please put it here. You can share your feedback on Instagram also. We'll appreciate that if you could just help us with your feedback on Instagram also. But for now, you can post it here also. That's perfectly okay. Okay, perfect. Your choice of foods is very important, yes. So when you go with the calorie counted approach, the choice of foods is something that is not considered. When you go with the energetic side, we go with the choice of foods. And when we go with the choice of foods, it also means the quality of food. So something like if you have a chickpea, beans in 2 varieties available, one with a small bean and the other one with a bigger bean, which is a good quality bean. Go with the bigger one, even if it means spending double amount on that. Use it, of course, less quantity, because the life force in that bigger one is going to be way higher than the pranic force is going to be way better in that healthier one than in that smaller one. So if you want to reach out to us, you can maybe drop us a mail on our email ID, which is contact@svarasya.com, or you can reach out to us through our Instagram messenger also. If you want to get in touch with me personally, maybe I can put across my phone number. You can just drop me a message, because we are soon planning a program around this, which would be a guided program of 28 days of transformation inside out, where we'll be taking you through all of dietary changes. We will be changing altogether. Day by day we will be incorporating certain things, incorporating a lot of things, not just the foods, but yogic practices, Ayurvedic practices, meditative practices, everything coming together to give you a feeler of how you can bring about that transformation from the inside out, and having a community to support each other. So I'm just putting across my number. You can just drop me a personal message if you want. Yeah. So if there are no further questions, maybe we can wind up the session. I would just, before we wind up, I would just want to request you all to, if you can, if you are on Instagram, please help us spread the word, because I guess this is one of the area that we need to upgrade each and every woman. That a lot of women who are just stuck into this cycle of finding that one best product miracle. The story is not like that. You are ending up toxicating yourself to the core. So help us spread the word, spread the community, so that we can just spread word as much as we can, and kind of educate as many women as we can. So thank you so much. I guess we are done with the session, and so you can reach out to me through different mediums. I've just mentioned my number also, and through Instagram. Thank you so much for your feedback, and I hope you like the session. We will soon be conducting our next session, which is going to be on the body work, the second dimension, which I talked about. So yeah, looking forward to have all of you there, and taking this step on beauty inside out to the next level. Thank you so much.